still the absolute truth.
And today, we're tackling a topic that, let's just say, it fuels a massive multi-million-dollar global market.
And it's a market built almost entirely on anxiety, on a perceived inadequacy. We are talking about male enhancement.
Absolutely. That anxiety is an incredibly powerful driver. In our sources, it's labeled everything from, simple small penis anxiety all the way up to penile dysmorphophobia disorder.
Wow.
Yeah, but whatever you call it, it's what pushes men to spend fortunes on products that are, frankly, dubious at best and often just outright dangerous.
So that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to fact check the entire industry.
We are.
We're sifting through some really rigorous sources, the Mayo Clinic, the Urology Care Foundation, even specific 2023 clinical studies to figure out, do any of these things actually work?
You mean the pills, the oils, the pumps?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the surgeries. And what is the real documented cost of going down that road?
It's so important to start with the psychological baseline here.
Okay.
Because our research shows that the vast majority of men who are looking for these treatments, they already fall squarely within the statistically normal range.
So the problem they think they have isn't even real, anatomically speaking.
Exactly. The problem they perceive is internal, but the solutions they're chasing are all physical.
Okay, so let's just get right to it then. Let's do the ultimate reality check with the actual numbers, because I feel like everyone's heard it, right? The average is over 6 inches.
Yeah.
What does the global data really say?
We need to pull the rug out from under that myth right now. Right now.
Let's do it.
There was a huge 2014 study. They looked at data from over 15,000 men all over the world. The results are definitive. The statistical average erect length was 13.12 centimeters. That's 5.16 inches.
Wait, 5.16?
5.16 inches. And the average erect girth, so the width, was 11.66 centimeters, which is about 4.59 inches.
That's a full inch below what you hear people say. That gap between the myth and the reality is just staggering. Where does that even come from?
It's a combination of things, media, pornography, maybe just peer comparison, but it sets these completely unrealistic standards.
So what's the real upper end then?
Well, the data shows that only about 5% of men globally have an erect penis longer than 16 centimeters. That's about 6.3 inches.
So if you're 6.3 inches, you're in the top 5% of the world.
Exactly. So the idea that that should be the average is it's biologically absurd.
The key takeaway then is if you're around 5 inches, you are perfectly statistically normal. You're not dealing with a deficit.
Right.
So just for medical context, when is a penis actually considered, clinically small?
Okay, so medically, the condition is called micropenis. It's a congenital thing, and it's defined as an adult stretched length of 9.3 centimeters or shorter.
Which is?
About 3.66 inches. So you can see the vast majority of men spending money on these products are chasing a flaw that only exists in their head.
That makes so much sense. But the industry always has that defense, right? It's not for you, it's for your partner.
Right. Does size matter?
Yeah, does it? For overall sexual satisfaction, what do we know?
So a 2015 study tried to figure this out. They asked women about their preferences. On average, the preferred size for a long-term partner was a little larger than the mean.
Okay, so what were the numbers?
About 6.3 inches in length and 4.8 inches in girth.
So that does sort of validate the preference for slightly above average.
It does, but, and this is a critical detail, the researchers themselves noted that these judgments are often based on inaccurate memory or just idealized images.
Okay.
And more importantly, study after study confirms size is not the main predictor of sexual satisfaction for partners. Things like technique, communication, emotional connection, they are exponentially more important.
So the whole market is basically built on a statistical lie, fueled by anxiety, and it's focused on the completely wrong variable.
That's a perfect summary.
Okay, so if the worry is purely in your head, what happens when men try to solve it with something they can buy over the counter? Let's wade into the swamp of, supplements, creams, and oils.
It is a swamp. The medical consensus, and this is coming from sources like the Urology Care Foundation, is absolute. There is little to no scientific support for any non-surgical method to permanently enlarge a typical penis.
You just don't work.
They don't. But the risk factor is where this gets genuinely horrifying.
Let's talk about those natural pills you see online.
Okay, so because these are marketed as dietary supplements, they exist in this weird regulatory loophole.
Meaning
Meaning the manufacturers don't have to prove they're safe or that they even work before they sell them. They just put a cocktail of vitamins, herbs, hormones in there and promise impossible results.
And it's not just about wasting your money. The FDA has investigated this market again and again. And what they found hiding in these bottles is just, it's terrifying.
It is. The most dangerous finding is that they're full of hidden, undeclared pharmaceutical drugs.
Like what?
Like sildenafil, the active ingredient in Viagra. Powerful drugs that can have dangerous interactions with, say, heart medication, and the user has no idea they're even taking it.
So you're buying an unregulated product that's secretly an unregulated drug. But the contamination part of our sources, that takes it to another level.
Oh, absolutely. Testing has shown that a lot of these products are made in just filthy, unsanitary conditions.
So what have they found?
The list of contaminants includes pesticides, lead, heavy metals, E. coli, even animal feces.
No. Animal feces.
Yes. You truly have no idea what you are putting in your body.
The idea that someone worried about their self-image is unknowingly swallowing E. coli and lead is just, it's shocking. Okay, what about the topical stuff, the oils and creams?
This just runs headfirst into basic human biology. Your skin's outer layer, the stratum corneum, it's like a high-performance waterproof jacket. It's designed to be a barrier.
So the creams can't get through.
They just can't penetrate deep enough to affect the internal structures that matter.
So if you feel a cream working, like it feels warm or tingly, what's happening?
You're feeling a temporary superficial swelling, maybe from a vasodilator like L-arginine that brings blood to the surface of the skin. But it's just surface level. It will never translate to permanent growth because you can't reach the corpora cavernosa.
Those are the sponge-like tissues inside, right?
Right, the parts that actually determine the size of an erection.
So it's temporary relief that does nothing to the actual anatomy.
Yeah.
And on the extreme end of this, we have to mention men trying to self-inject things.
This is a grave warning. People read things online and inject substances like olive oil or mineral oil, hoping to get bigger, and it leads to catastrophic results.
Like what?
We're talking severe pain, chronic scarring, ulcers, disfigurement, and even tissue necrosis, cell death. It's a medical disaster.
Okay, moving on from the chemical failures.
Yes.
Let's talk mechanics. The pumps, the stretchers, the exercises. Let's start with vacuum pumps. They're used for ED, right?
They are. Their main medical use is for treating erectile dysfunction.
And they work by drawing blood into the penis.
So is there any evidence that if you do that over and over, it leads to a permanent size increase?
No. Zero evidence of permanent size increase. They cause temporary swelling, that's it. And what's fascinating is the risk of misusing them.
What happens?
If you use them too often or for too long, you risk damaging the elastic tissue. You can actually cause long-term damage that results in less firm erections over time.
That is the ultimate irony. Chasing a measurement so hard, you damage your actual ability to function.
Exactly. You sacrifice function for a vanity project that doesn't even work.
Okay, then we have the traction devices or extenders, those little frames that stretch things out.
Right.
These sound like they might work just based on the principle of tissue expansion.
They are probably the most compelling non-surgical method, but they're still not supported for cosmetic use by groups like the Urology Care Foundation.
How do they work? It's a gentle stretching, but it's applied for hours a day. Some small studies, mostly with patients who have Peyronie's disease, did show some modest length increases. Maybe 1 to 3 centimeters.
That actually sounds like a win. What's the catch?
The commitment is enormous. I mean, participants in these studies had to wear the devices for 4 to 9 hours a day.
4 to 9 hours. Every day.
Every day for months. Think about that. It's like a part-time job dedicated to a stretching device. It just shows you how deep that underlying anxiety runs.
And what about the manual exercise? Jelqing, that sort of milking motion. Any science there?
Zero scientific proof that it's effective. The risks, however, are very real. You can get bruising, pain, and fibrosis.
Fibrosis, that's scar tissue, right?
Exactly. And scar tissue isn't elastic, so you could, ironically, end up making the penis permanently shorter or distorted.
So non-surgical methods are basically useless, contaminated, or require absurd dedication for tiny results. That leaves the last frontier surgery.
And we need to start this with a really stark warning. The American Urological Association is on record saying that cosmetic penile augmentation surgery is considered neither safe nor effective.
So these are experimental procedures.
Controversial and experimental, absolutely.
Okay, with that warning in mind, what are the main options? Let's start with girth.
For girth, the standard approach is fat cell injection. They take fat from your abdomen or somewhere and inject it around the shaft. The studies show an average gain of about 2.3 to 2.6 centimeters after a year.
That sounds pretty guaranteed.
Yeah.
So what's the high-risk complication?
The biggest problem is that your body just reabsorbs the fat. It's like a slow-melting ice sculpture. Patients can lose anywhere from 20 to 80% of that new volume within a year. It leads to disappointment, repeat surgeries, and a high risk of swelling, distortion, painful lumps, just disfigurement.
And for length, the infamous suspensory ligament release.
Right. This involves cutting the ligament that anchors the penis to the pubic bone.
So it doesn't make it longer, it just makes more of it hang outside the body.
You've got it. It makes the flaccid penis appear longer, maybe by 1 to 3 centimeters, but you haven't actually increased the length of the erectile tissue at all.
And what's the functional drawback?
Well, you've removed the internal support, so you destabilize the erect penis. It loses that firm angle you need for intercourse.
Which would make sex difficult.
Very difficult. Unsurprisingly, satisfaction rates for this are notoriously low, somewhere between just 30 and 65%.
Of course, there is one case where surgery makes sense, the so-called buried penis.
That's a crucial distinction, yes. In that case, liposuction removes the fat pad over the pubic bone and just reveals the penis that was hidden. It can dramatically improve appearance and self-esteem.
Okay, so let's pivot to the one place where medical augmentation is actually proven and totally appropriate. We're talking about treating a genuine medical condition, idiopathic micropenis.
Yes. This is where we have some really fascinating evidence-based data. Hormonal treatment is highly effective when you're dealing with this specific rare deficiency.
We have a great 2023 comparative study on this. It looked at 2 different hormone treatments for young patients.
Right. It compared transdermal dihydrotestosterone, or DHT, which is applied locally as a gel, versus testosterone enhancement, or TE, which is given as a systemic injection.
And the results were pretty clear.
Yeah, illuminating. The local DHT application was significantly better. It showed a mean size gain of 2.37 centimeters compared to only 1.82 for the testosterone injections.
So why is that specific local hormone so much better than just a standard testosterone shot?
Dihydrotestosterone, or DHT, is biologically about 8 times more potent than testosterone. But the really key part is when you apply it through the skin, it's less likely to convert into estradiol in the body.
Estradiol being estrogen.
Right. Systemic testosterone can convert to estrogen and cause unwanted side effects like gynecomastia or breast tissue development. DHT basically skips that step. It delivers all the potency right where you need it, with fewer side effects.
But again, this is strictly for treating a specific medical deficiency.
Strictly. This is not a cosmetic option.
So, the central truth here is that if you have a typical size penis, all the magical fixes are either a sham, dangerous, or incredibly high risk.
Which brings us right back to where we started.
To the psychology. To small penis anxiety and penile dysmorphophobia disorder, or PDD.
Which is a form of body dysmorphic disorder.
Exactly, where this one anxiety just consumes a person. And these are serious issues that can lead to depression, crippling sexual anxiety, and genuine sexual dysfunction. Not because of the anatomy, but because of the fear.
So if the problem is psychological and the physical fixes are useless, what are the safe, evidence-backed alternatives?
The focus has to shift completely. It has to be about communication, mental health, and overall wellness.
Where do you start?
The most important step, if this anxiety is ruining your life, is to seek counseling or therapy. Talk to someone about the body image issues directly.
And what about the more practical self-care steps, the low-hanging fruit?
First, trim your pubic hair. It's simple, it's low risk, and it genuinely makes the penis look larger by revealing more of the shaft.
Makes sense. Second, exercise and manage your weight. Removing abdominal fat increases the visible length, and better cardiovascular health maximizes your natural erectile function.
Because maximizing what you have naturally is way more important than chasing a fake number.
Precisely. And finally, open communication with your partner. Talking about concerns and prioritizing intimacy and pleasure over some size metric it's infinitely more likely to improve your sex life than any pill ever could.
So, to sum it all up, the central finding of this deep dive is just crystal clear. For the typical man, there is no proven, safe, non-surgical method for permanent enlargement. Period.
And the surgical methods carry massive risks, functional drawbacks, and really low satisfaction rates.
For the vast majority of men who worry about this, The problem isn't the physical reality of their size, which is almost certainly statistically normal.
It's the perception of it, a perception that's being fed by a multi-million-dollar industry that's more than happy to sell them poison.
The knowledge from today should shift your focus entirely. If your anxiety about size is so bad you'd consider swallowing lead or getting experimental surgery that could ruin your function, the most important deep dive you can possibly take is talking to a doctor or a therapist. The best enhancement isn't physical, it's confidence, health, and honest communication.